On a safari in South Africa, a plane lands and a family of tourists exits. We have Tom, a successful businessman, his wife Amy, and his 2 children from his first marriage, Jesse, the eldest, and David, the youngest. They are on this safari for a weekend to distract themselves and for Jesse and David to better interact with their stepmother. On the way to the lodge where they'll stay, we see that Tom and Jesse are not getting along at all, as she does not accept his separation from her mother and the fact that he is married again. Throughout the day, the couple relaxes by the pool while Jesse watches, sulking and complaining. By nighttime, they enjoy a delicious typical menu of the region, but Jesse is completely unhappy with everything and leaves the table upset. Her father then goes after her and tries to convince her to better understand the new situation. By the morning of the next day, early, the family meets a local tour guide who will take them on a safari to observe animals. However, Tom cannot go along, as he needs to resolve some work matters. He bids farewell to the family and heads off to work. Along the way, they see some important points in the area, but have yet to see any animals. Then, Brian has the idea to leave the road to venture deeper into the animals' territory to get a better view of them in their natural habitat. They walk for a while off the road, but before they can see any animals, David says he needs to relieve himself. Brian then stops the car and hands him a bottle, but this does not make David comfortable, as he really needed to get out of the car. Brian takes his gun and goes with him to a place a few meters away from the car. However, upon arriving there, they are noticed by watchful eyes. Before David can do anything, Brian notices something up ahead that puts him in a defensive position with his gun. He asks David to go back to where he was, slowly, as something is wrong, and they become very worried. When it is revealed that an adult lioness is about to attack David, the worst part is that it is not just one lion, but others that are hunting nearby. David manages to get behind Brian, and the girls in the car try to make some noise to distract another lion that was eyeing them. Amy tries to start the car but realizes that Brian has taken the keys. So she gets out and tries to get the attention of the male lion, while David and Brian cautiously back away towards the car. However, the worst happens. The lioness begins her attack. Brian orders David to run while shooting at the beast but misses. In his desperate attempt to run back to the car, Brian stumbles and drops his gun. He continues to run back to the car, now unarmed. David manages to get in, but just as Brian is about to get in as well, he is reached by the beast, which immobilizes him, biting his jugular. The family inside the car watches, terrified, the horrific scene, unable to do anything. A moment of silence occurs, but suddenly the lioness positions herself in front of the glass, looking inside the car, spotting more potential prey for her pride, and then drags Brian's body away. Meanwhile, Tom is calmly working on building a dam, unaware of what his family is going through at that moment. Amy checks her phone only to find out that where they are, there is no signal. Jesse begins to panic about their situation. Far from the road, unable to start the car, without the guide to show the way back, and now having multiple lions lurking to devour them if they step out. Amy tries to calm her down, saying that her father will find them through the tire tracks, but they will have to wait. While they are still talking, they are startled by a male lion climbing on the car, weighing about 200 pounds. He starts to dent the car's roof, sending the family into total despair. The situation worsens when, due to the weight of the beast, the front glass begins to crack as the lion tries to reach someone inside the car through the window. At one point, the lion gives up and gets down from the roof, but continues to stare at the family inside the car and moves away from them. The family then breathes a sigh of relief, thinking that the lions are no longer nearby, but they are unsure since they could still be lurking in the tall grass. After a few hours without knowing what to do, they decide to grab the guide's rifle, but he said no one should leave the car as it is extremely risky out there. Now, they can see the lions under a bush ahead, which have already devoured a guide and are just waiting for the next one to exit the car. Around 2 o'clock, Tom arrives at the lodge where they are staying and receives news about his family. By nighttime, the children are trying to rest when Jessie turns on the car headlights to see if there are still lions nearby, only to her unfortunate surprise that they are still surrounding the car. Amy quickly turns off the headlight and tries to calm David while a storm approaches that area. Meanwhile, Tom argues with a woman from the lodge to go after his family, but she states that there isn't much they can do with just one available car. The patrol helicopter does not go out at night, and thus, They will have to wait for dawn. The woman tries to contact a hunting guide who could help Tom at that moment. She radios the man and hands it to Tom to discuss his situation, but the man says he can't do anything as he is merely a hunting guide. He asks them to wait for the rain to pass and hangs up shortly after. The rain falls hard in the region, and David, after waking up, tries to drink some rainwater, but Amy stops him, saying that some lion might come in due to him opening the door. But seeing the great need to drink, Amy allows it. So they quench their thirst with rainwater. Morning comes at the lodge. In the search helicopter, the pilot tells Tom that he cannot go along, as there is room for only 2 people, and that he should await more news. Then, he returns to ask the woman where he can find the hunting guide who can help. Meanwhile, in the car, David wakes up and sees a reflection of sunlight in the grass. Thinking it was the car key, he calls Amy to check, and when she looks, she realizes it is indeed the key. Then, Amy scans around and notices that apparently there are no lions nearby. So, she gets out of the car to grab the key and thus escape that nightmare. After giving one more look around and seeing that there is no one in sight, she carefully makes her way towards the key. But Jesse already sees a lion crouched in the tall grass and quickly screams for Amy to run back. So, risking everything, Amy runs towards the key, manages to pick it up, and then quickly returns to the car, already with one of the beasts running after her. By much luck, Amy manages to get into the car at the last moment before being reached by the beast, which merely hits the car. Amy, now desperate, starts the car while the lion tries fiercely to get in, but she manages to pull away in the car. However, due to the lack of a road, and mainly due to her great panic, she cannot drive well and ends up losing control, jumping off a small slope and falling into a hole, which damages the car. Meanwhile, Tom arrives at the house of the man he spoke with over the radio the night before. He asks for help to find his family. The man initially refuses, but after some insistence and promise of payment, Tom convinces him. Back in the car, Amy and the kids try to start the car again, but they cannot, as the impact from the hole has left it significantly damaged. Thinking they've managed to leave the lions behind, Jesse suggests they get out of the car and try to find help around. But Amy says no, as they have no idea where they are at that moment, or if there are more lions around. Meanwhile, Tom and the hunter begin searching for any clues, and note that the tracks have been entirely erased by the rain from the previous night. Ford also talks about the incompetence of the search patrol in the helicopter, which, according to him, might be flying over Tom's family without seeing them. Continuing, we see that this is indeed what happens, as the helicopter approaches the location of Tom's family, but unfortunately does not spot them. At this moment, Jesse, in an act of desperation, has the foolish idea of getting out of the car and shouting to try to attract the helicopter's attention. Inevitably, one of the lions that were still nearby moves as Amy runs to reach her and pull her back to the car. However, when she reaches her, they realize too late that the beast is already charging towards them. So, faced with certain death, in a leap, the lioness reaches them and a gunshot is heard. The animal is taken down. The shot came from 2 local hunters who, by much luck for them, were passing by at that moment. The girls ask the 2 men for help, but soon realize that they are not concerned about helping them, but rather in taking their game. Thinking these men could be dangerous, Jesse says they should go back to the car, since those men may be illegal hunters and are not at all interested in helping them. Jesse suggests that at least they can indicate where to find water, so she decides to go back and ask the men for that. To make matters worse, they apparently do not understand their language at all, but eventually they grasp the gesture they make when saying they need water. One of them calls for her to show him. Jesse decides to follow the man since Amy was with a slightly injured ankle and also needed to stay with David. They walk a short distance and arrive at a place with water, where she quickly drinks, even though the water is not clean. After drinking and collecting some in 2 gourds to take to David, they hear a gunshot. The hunter runs back and Jesse follows. Upon reaching the vehicle, they find that no one is there anymore. Not even the other hunter is responding to his companion's calls. They approach the car to see if anyone is there, when suddenly Amy, who is crouched hiding, appears and makes Jesse drop one of the gourds of water she brought. Jesse gets into the car, but the hunter who was with her heads toward the carcass of the lion they took down earlier, and then goes into the bush, disappearing from their sight. At this moment, Tom and the hunter are still searching for any clue to find Amy and the kids, but it is already getting late, and they will have to camp there for the night. Soon, night falls, and Tom's family spends their second night confined inside that car, lost in the savannah. While Jesse talks, they hear a noise outside, and when they try to see what it is, they are startled when the younger hunter appears desperate, trying to get in. They open the door, and he enters as if he were fleeing from something, when suddenly, a large lioness jumps on the car's windshield, breaking the glass, and thus managing to grab the hunter, who, with no chances, is dragged outside and killed. Soon, Amy, seeing that they were now without the protection of the front glass, which was no great deal anymore, pushes the front seats to cover what they can and goes to hide in the trunk of the car, should another lion try to get in. The day soon dawns, and by much luck, the family has not suffered any further attacks from the lions, but they are weak due to dehydration and hunger. Jesse strongly suggests they should go out to see if they can find any help, believing that the lions might be full and not want them anymore. However, Amy does not agree to go out. Instead, she covers the windows with some upholstery from the car and takes inventory of what they have inside. While Tom and Crawford are still searching for any clues that lead to them, Tom sees in the distance a flock of vultures over an area, and they quickly head there. David, in the car, sees outside some hyenas devouring the remains of the hunter, when suddenly, they all run away in fear of something. They realize it was the lions that were still in the area, watching any slightest movement inside the car to attack. At this moment, after finding a human carcass, Crawford and Tom move further ahead and pass near the location where the children are. However, since they are on the other side of the hill, they have no idea they are so close to encountering each other. With the sound of the car, a lion that was keeping an eye on the family gets startled. Amy and the kids hear the sound of the car and start to have hope again of being rescued. Risking everything, Amy gets out of the car to try to attract someone's attention with her screams. When Tom is already preparing to go somewhere else, he hears in the distance cries for help. They then quickly run towards the screams that come from the other side of the hill. Upon reaching the top, they quickly see it was Amy near the car, and Tom hurriedly runs to reunite with his family, not hearing what Crawford was saying about the lions in the area. Amy, seeing there was some lion lurking, returns to the car, while Tom quickly descends, followed by Crawford. Then, Tom approaches the car but quickly stops due to his family's warnings about a lion nearby. Crawford also notices and tells Tom not to move, but still, the lion attacks Tom. In the last moment, Tom manages to shoot the beast and brings it down. Unfortunately, Crawford does not notice another lion that was lurking and is killed by it. Tom runs desperately to the car, but before he can get in, another lion comes to attack him, and having no other choice, he hides just in time under the car, narrowly escaping. The ferocious lion tries to get him from underneath as well, but fails. Amy fears for the life of her husband, who is under the car being terrorized by the hungry beast. Amy, inside the car, decides to do something to help. She then grabs one of the tools and starts piercing the car's fuel tank. She also tells Jesse to remove the seats that were blocking the broken windshield. After managing to pierce the tank, she will have access to gasoline. She instructs Jesse and David to run as fast as they can to a tree and climb it. She tells the same to Tom and then opens the trunk of the car to attract the lion's attention. The family manages to run, and after everyone escapes while the lion is already inside the car, Amy lights the lighter and throws it on a gasoline-soaked cloth over the tank. However, she cannot get out in time, and apparently explodes along with the car and the lion. Everyone is anxious as they think Amy did not survive that. When suddenly, to their joy, on the other side of the car, she returns to where they are and embraces them. The film then ends with them reunited again, and Jessie now accepting her stepmother. They then head towards somewhere or someone that could help them get back home. However, they do not realize that the hungry predators are still lurking.